Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Space Engineers 2 wishlist video. Now you might be asking yourself, clearly you're playing SE2 in the background, why are you making a wishlist video? And my response to that is, well, we have 20 blocks in the game, one game mode, and we spawn in space. The game's not completely out yet. So with that being said, I have a wish list of items slash features I want to see in the game that differ from the SE1 game that I hope to see implemented in the future. If you're a modder, take note. Maybe you can implement some of this stuff yourself. But hey, let's get started, shall we? First on our list, we have folder options for blueprints. Allowing us to have multiple blueprints per file. This could be useful for modular style blueprints. If we're able to make a blueprint file that would have like my main ship and then all like the little modular pieces that I swap in and out on that blueprint that I've designed all in one folder, I think that'd be pretty useful. I think a lot of us would be would agree on that. And a way to upload that folder to Steam Workshop would be very, very, very useful in terms of downloading other people's work and whatnot. So you can also get their modular builds for the ship as well. Another thing I'd like to see added to the game is springs. You know how much fun slash the cool stuff we could do with springs and or a suspension system, especially with the new Havoc system. Being able to use springs as a mechanic may work better in this game than it ever could have in SE1. I'd also like to see more usage in oxygen. I'd like to see oxygen have a greater use than just being able to breathe. I'd like to maybe see the addition of oxygen thrusters, the ability to use oxygen from the air, freeze it, and break it down into very small amounts of hydrogen. This would be most useful on planets and moons without ice or water. The ability to use oxygen tanks as a flotation device in water. As we run out of oxygen, the amount of buoyancy will decrease until it is no longer capable of floating. I'd also like to see better rover gameplay mechanics. I know personally I'm a bit of a planet bob. I like to put myself in situations where I can't or won't build an aircraft slash flying grid of any kind and force myself to work out how to solve the problem from the ground. I'd like to see rover slash ground vehicle improvements, whether it's better physics, better wheels, suspension system, how they handle at speeds, or the overall functionality of having a ground vehicle. Things like tank tracks come to mind. Better weapon turrets allow us to create more realistic looking tanks or APCs, and so on. Next up, survival slash planetary functionality overhaul. I want my base to feel like it's my base, not feel like it's just a step towards me getting a big ship built and living on that forever and going to space. I'd like my planetary bases to feel unique, like I can only get this type of resource here. Give me purpose to going to each planet and establishing a home slash base there. Instead of spawning in space and having everything imaginable only a short damper off drift away. Give us tiers for weapons, blocks, tools, and whatnot that make us go out and seek the resources only available on certain planets, moons, and asteroids. While the game sorta has that with tool tiers in SE1, you could just live in space and have it all in just a short radius around you from where you spawned, making early game fast and kind of boring in survival. Next, with water, I hope to see a large number of actual gameplay uses and functionality. We already know that we can move water, we know we can crash into water, and we know that we can live under the water. But I want more. I want power usage, guerrilla warfare tactics usage. I want to see water propulsion systems that allow us to use water as a way of moving our grids. I want to see items and blocks in the game that take advantage of the water and add more to it. And if ever they were gonna add more to survival, like food and water, this would be the time. Please make food and water in survival optional if you do. I'd like to see a hydraulic system using the water as well. Let water create pressure and or steam. Let water be able to flow through pipes and build pressure enough to go up pipes and empty block spaces if done correctly. Now this next suggestion or wish list item is something that one of my friends recommended when I was sitting here brainstorming and writing the script. Yes, that is why I'm reading this horribly. I'm reading it off a script instead of the top of my head like I do most of my videos. They suggested that they'd like to see more wildlife, more hostile and or friendly wildlife. It never made sense to me that these planets could have trees, fresh air, grass, water. ice, but no other life than just flora. And the two forms of life we did see were spiders and wolves. You know how wild Pertam would have been with giant sandworms? It's also be a unique and choosable feature to have these animals add gameplay mechanics, like an animal husbandry. I don't actually know how to say that word, I'm just praying I said it right. Allowing us to generate food if that mechanic was added in survival, be able to create biofuel for power generation, fabric for creating things like parachutes and whatnot. This feature wouldn't be for everyone. That's why if it was to be a thing, it should be something that is additional option for you to turn on in your survival playthrough. Now that was a suggestion that my friend made. I kind of get what they're talking about and I kind of don't. I read that word for word of what they typed it. I like the idea, but I don't know if I completely like the idea. Like, I do, but I can also see how that takes this from a sandbox game to a standard survival game. So I'm kind of for it and against it. Again, being a toggleable option would make sense. But I can also see it being part of the base game, as we do have a progression system in this game. Well, not this game, but in SC1. So it kind of makes sense and it doesn't. I don't know. We're going to get on to my next point, though. Alright, next up, I'd like to see more weaponry options for both players and grids. I'd like to see more static and turret weapon options, as well as better hitboxes, target detection, and overall size of the turrets. I can't express to you how annoyed and disappointed I was when we got the Gatling Mark II, and its hitboxes were still a 3x3. That would have been a perfect turret to set up a system where you could deploy the turret from what was previously hidden underneath your armor to the exterior of your ship. But this... because of its size, it was just completely impractical. In terms of player weapon options, I'd like to see more types of weapons. A sniper rifle maybe for longer ranged engagements. A shotgun maybe for the funsies of close quarters. And maybe a few little goofy things that don't actually do anything meaningful, but they're just for shits and giggles and kind of create some laughter. Like maybe like a party popper gun or a little weapon that you like, it plays random in-game sounds to startle people. I don't know, just fun little handheld things the players can use and interact with to have some fun with their friends. So this next one is a bit of a lengthy boy. I'm probably going to make about 40 mistakes, and you're going to hear my voice get chopped 900 times as I try to correct myself and edit that out. But I'd like to see more encounters. Yes, we know NPCs are coming, but what does that entail? Player models at trade stations, player model NPCs flying ships, we don't necessarily know. So I'd like to throw my own spin on encounters to be added. First off, yes, trade stations and NPC ships flying around, no duh. But mainly, I'd like to see ships that go from planet to planet surface, visiting trade stations. I think it also would be neat addition that if you are at a certain distance and the grid is going at a certain speed when entering the atmosphere, you can hear it entering. I think this would be a breath of fresh air in the environment and remind you that you're not alone and there's other life in the universe. Along with that, I think more ground installations would be unique. Maybe some that are hidden in caves, because we've heard / seen cave generation being a thing teased in development. So this could be a unique opportunity to have secret, hidden, underground, military facilities that maybe have some lore talking about the game and stuff. You know, that'd be pretty unique. As well as, depending on what the game can handle in terms of grids, having some airfield type ground grids where the planetary or interplanetary ships can like come in and land, load and offload NPCs and goods would be pretty nifty and add a little bit of life and, I don't know, a sense that there's other, you know, people out there when you see this happening and watch it happen, or even if you're there when it's happening. It'd be unique, I think. Alright, and lastly, in-game. This part is going to be quite large. I'm going to have to pause my recording over and over again so I can scroll down enough to kind of read the main points I want to touch. But please bring some of the Prototech-like in-game into this game. It's rare, it's not craftable, and you got to work your ass off to get it. But once you have it, you stand out compared to other players and factions in the game. Don't just give us the same stuff that was Prototech, but also give us weaponry, neat blocks that open up new functions in the game, perhaps new ways to interact with water, or maybe something new entirely. Maybe some late game power generation would be cool as well, allowing us more power and less weight overall. Say goodbye to the 300 batteries and 2 large reactors on my small ship. And finally, I know this is going to be controversial, but I am here with some buffs and debuffs to try and maybe sway you into agreeing with me. But I think it would best fit here as some sort of in-game block, a prototype-like block. Shields. I know what you're thinking, but if it's extremely hard to get, super power demanding, and had drawbacks like needing to bring your shields down to launch grids through it, like fighters or custom player-made weapons, as well as not allowing the user to fire turret weapons, targeting weapons through the shield. And if that wasn't enough, it would also have a health bar. Sorta. Let me explain. It could theoretically last forever with enough power, but the more damage it takes, the more power the shield will drain from your grid, gradually multiplying as damage is received, forcing the player to either try and escape before losing all their power to their grid, or bring down their shields and fight their opponents. Sorry, I had to take a sip there of water. This is a lot of yapping for me. Once the shield is down, it would also have a 30-minute period of time before the shield could be brought back up again. Only one of these blocks can be placed on a grid, and if you find a way to place more than one, they would have a custom activation radius, meaning that if the game detects another one of those blocks within a certain distance from the main grid it is attached to, it won't function at all. On top of that, another debuff what did I just say? On top of that, another debuff would be, once subgrids do eventually come to the game, the shield would only work if placed on the grid with the largest mass, aka the main grid, keeping players from doing any weird subgrid exploiting to get an extra shield. And since we're going to go weird and wacky with the shields idea, let's just add laser weapons. Add them. Why not, right? Well, that's all I could really think of for now, guys. I would love to do another video where I sit down and I think of more ideas. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know in the comments. And if you have any ideas yourself on something you would just like to see added to the game, whether it's a primary feature that you have to interact with or a targetable secondary feature that you can add to the game, similar to progression in SE1, let me know down below. And also, guys, if you could do me a huge favor, I just hit 200 subscribers at the time of recording this video. I was just about to ask if you guys could help me get there. If you could help me get to 300, I'd be very, very appreciative. Also, I don't think I'm going to do another script reading video. I think from now on, I'm just going to do it off the top of my head because I can't read and speak at the same time, apparently. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy it, please subscribe. Leave me a like if you thought it was worth something. And comment down below if you have any ideas yourself. And until next time, bye-bye. Here at the very end, I thought it'd be kind of fun if I tossed a couple of my vocal bloopers I had. I had quite a few of them. I didn't save them all. I saved just a couple. I hope you'll enjoy. And for the final time, I will see you in the next one. Adios. Hang on. And I don't mean just, you know, oxygen thrusters. That's hydrogen. No. Oxygen being used as, like, a thrust component. Oh, I lost my place. Where was I? I am having some trouble speaking today. I also like to see more usages other than breathing. Oh, I'm sorry. I would just like to see more. Oh my god, Jake!